Hey guys, this is Lala Legacy and welcome back to another episode of 1000 Lies. So before we get in, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It would mean the world to me. And after this video, if you liked it, please hit that like button as well. So let's get into this. Right stood in front of the wolf, left behind him. The first one to speak was Right, who from that distance looked smaller than usual. To Left's right, on the other side of the sea, you could see the sun rising. The wolf turned around. Left raised her right arm and pointed to the east. From this distance, she appeared to be even taller than before. To Right's right, behind the mountains, you'll see the sun setting, said Left. The wolf turned around again. Right raised his right arm in tangent, pointing to the west. If you want to reach it, then you will have to race towards Left's left, Right exclaimed. The wolf looked at Left. Left raised his left arm this time. The wolf didn't really mind running if it meant that he could finally reach the sun. He wasn't the fastest in the animal kingdom. He was a wounded wolf after all, but he considered himself fast enough to surpass the pace of the calm celestial body. It may look slow, said Left as he turned himself around. But it's the exact opposite, said Right as she turned around. Because most likely it has already won, they said before shrugging in unison. The wolf felt confused and a little angry when Right smiled as she turned her black back to him, and Left cried as he turned his white back to him. But it was as they told him. The sun always rose from one direction and fell from another. If the wolf waited behind the mountains, he could catch it as it passed. Grateful for the help he received, the wolf said goodbye to the strangers, who had only become even more strange after speaking. Waving their hands, Right and Left asked the wolf one last question. Which is your name, then? Skol or Hati? The wolf sighed as he closed his eyes and gently shook his head. I'm just a wolf, he answered. So be it if that's what you wish to call me. The wolf decided to go west, behind the mountains, certain he had found the answer that he had sought out. But once he arrived there, he realized that the sun kept going even further beyond the towns. Still, he continued chasing it beyond the towns. But the sun kept running, setting little by little behind the fields. Next, he ran through the fields, and when he finally thought he would be able to meet the sun as it was setting, he found out that it went even further beyond past the sea. From the shore, the wolf was unable to do anything. He felt powerless for being unable to reach the sun. Tired, he laid down on the sand, his pride crushed after discovering that the jester and the clown were right. He couldn't win against the slow sun in the race. His target had disappeared, giving way to the night, leaving only the wind and the darkness as the wolf's companions. The wolf had to seek shelter before it got too dark outside, but he was tired and in pain. He could barely move at all, and time was running short. He wondered what he could do. Everything was the sun's fault for deceiving him and running away like that. Those two silly tricksters were also at fault for not warning him beforehand. How could the sun bring happiness like this? Something so deceptive couldn't bring any joy. Night came and the wolf expected the worst as he closed his eyes, fearing any danger. But none ever came. After opening his eyes, he could see the beach, perfectly illuminated by a cold and beautiful silver cloak. It was the moon. It had listened and answered the wolf's prayers, offering to him the shimmering help he had needed. The wolf was grateful, but the moon was so far away. It was difficult for her to hear the wolf. So he filled his lungs and raised his head in determination. And a resounding howl covered the sea and the skies with the feeling of gratitude. So foretold the tales that once upon a time there was a wolf without a past or memory who wanted to reach the sun. That is a really cool, concept of why wolves howl. Gonna admit it? Gonna admit your guilt? Aussie tries to blind me with the light of his cell phone as if he's interrogating me. I believe I can take his cell phone and rip off his entire hand with a single bite, but I instead opt to control my cannibalistic instincts. Proof doesn't lie. You lied to us about what happened on D-Day, so I won't accept any of your pitiful excuses. What do you do to my sexy flamenca Dialis yesterday? I'm totally in favor of you using Roman titles if you're consistent about it, but that girl has her own name. I won't deny that a lot of things happened, but I have to keep it a secret. Not everything that happened was even legal. Campanero, you could get her pregnant. Wrap it up. Is that all you think about? You're right. That's impossible. It's you we're talking about here. And if I'm involved in it, then you have no choice, or then you have no chance whatsoever. At least not until I score first. Someday, we'll have to work on that mental image of me you've created. Classes end for another day. Aussie and I leave the school together, although he falls behind a bit as he says goodbye to a few of his friends. I wouldn't mind telling Aussie the truth, but I'd have to tell him everything that happened, or else I'd have him thinking that I assault people. The problem is Lucy. She made me promise that I wouldn't tell anyone about her hobby or our new partnership in general, and that yes, I accepted her unreasonable deal in the end. We made that bet during a basketball match, so now I have to deal with it. What I'm not really convinced about is whether or not it's possible to hide the existence of our new meetings at the library. What am I even thinking? It's not like I actually care if anyone finds out. I'll do my part and I won't snitch, but if someone gets suspicious, I can't stop them. Earlier, Ziva said something about going to the makeup committee meeting. The one for the grad and prom stuff, since the meeting yesterday didn't turn out so well. Aussie catches up with me after he says his goodbyes to his friends, but the vibration of his cell phone makes him pause for a second. He excuses himself as he slides his thumb over the screen and discovers an enormously unwelcome surprise. Not again, Sierre! I lean my head towards my friend, feigning indifference despite having a terrible hunch about what it might be. You couldn't possibly still be logged into my email account. This time I'll admit I left it logged in on purpose. After what happened last time, I wanted to know if it happened again. It did. Aussie tries to show me the screen, but instead I grab it from him directly and peer at the screen. Yes, there it is. Sent only a few moments ago. Another email from the mysterious sender. From Harry H. Sierran Indian. Subject: not for everybody. Can you accept a fake reality? There's no going back after the first step, nor can taking back what was lost be considered winning. If after knowing the truth you still wish to be sincere, be careful, because that will make you the greatest liar. Until forever, and good luck with the first consequence. I stand still, completely paralyzed. Finally, Aussie says what I've been thinking after he reads the contents of the email. What? That's what I'm wondering. What's the meaning of this? This email is slightly different from the other two. This time it says until forever. Does that mean that this is going to be the last email? I guess so. I just wanted my figurine. But the first sentence clearly states that you can't take back what's lost, nor are you unable to do or undo anything. Whoever sent this is making fun of me, saying that I'll never see her. And what's the rest supposed to mean? If you're sincere, then you'll become the greatest liar? Isn't that contradictory? The ends of the emails up until now were the same. I don't know if I should be angry or happy that there won't be more. All I really know is that I won't take the bait ever again. The mystery remains unsolved. Without any clues or hope, maybe I should forget about all of it. I've already got enough to deal with. I have to meet with Lucy in the library this afternoon again. Thinking of which, I still have a few hours until it's time to meet up. There's still time, but since it's my secret base anyways, I'm not going to stop using it because there's a new squatter there. I decided to head to the library early. It isn't that easy, though. Once I reach the park, I run into someone who stops me in my tracks. I think the best part of going to the library is taking a short stroll around the pond. Right? It's so nice! I've been waiting for you, or here for you for a couple of days. What have you been doing? A quiet stroll with no one to disturb me, completely alone, walking through nature with only the song of the leaves dancing above the pond. How many poets have showcased such tender moments in the lyrics of their love letters? Sierran can't see me! He's gone blind! That means that I'm invisible to him right now. This is a great discovery. I can't miss out on this opportunity. Stop, it was a joke. Stop tickling me. Stop it, Claire. It's a miracle. I've cleared Sierran, and now he can see me. These hands have been blessed with supernatural powers, and I didn't know it. Blind people can also be ticklish, idiot. And my eyes are perfectly fine, except for myopia. But that's another story. And why do you think they're fine now? Unless... You forgot about me? I've already told you that it was a joke. Really? Claire's sudden appearance doesn't surprise me. I even kind of expected her to be here. Maybe this girl's craziness is a good way for me to forget about reality. Her carefree attitude seems to make the real world melt away. Tell me something, Sierran. Did you forget about me? Would you forget about me if we never ever met again? Hiding under her hat in embarrassment, Claire asks me a very weird question. She looks worried to hear my answer, so much that it's perplexing. Look, I may forget someone else, but not you. I couldn't forget about someone as peculiar as you that easily. You can't simply erase a big weirdo from your memory, wouldn't you say? I see. Claire sighs discouragingly. It isn't the reaction I was expecting from her. My intention was the opposite. But she immediately comes back to her senses and returns to the usual Claire. I've already decided anyways. Next time, don't make me wait as long. I was worried that you were dead or something like that. You aren't totally wrong about that. I faced death a couple of times. Could it be that you're a ghost and you're really dead? That would explain why you couldn't see me earlier. We've already been over that. Just let it go. Please. Our conversation resembles a comedian's routine. Talking with Claire, I discover that we have more in common than just our love for the pond. Oddly enough, I'm not annoyed by our accidental meeting. We met not too long ago, so to speak, and even if it was shocking at first, now it's pretty much the opposite. She's definitely insane, yes, but it's one of those comedic instances. Compared to the cruel satire of the universe, or that the universe frequently throws around anyways. I see you're depressed. Where's the confident Sierran that I know? The one who likes to flip off innocent clouds. I'd prefer to inform you that such a Sierran never existed, but I guess you aren't that far off. Let me guess, you're upset about your plans going awry? Something or someone in your life has disrupted your normal pleasant peace? It's not too big of a feat to guess that since you're generalizing, but yes. Don't play hard to get. I can read you like an open book, Sierran. You can't deceive me. Don't you have the answer book there? It could be pretty useful. Maybe. Let's go for a walk and you can bring me up to date? One shouldn't trust strangers, but sometimes it's precisely with strangers to whom you can speak the most freely since you aren't restrained by social ties. Nevertheless, when I speak with Claire, I don't feel like I'm talking to a stranger. She feels more like a lifelong friend to me. So I tell her about my troubles, if I can even call them that, as we take a stroll out of the park. Following her pace, I start vaguely describing all of the events that had transpired this week. The weird emails first, those were the first straw, and then about all the other tribulations that came after that. I skip everything that I think is better not to mention, especially things related to Lucy since I promised that I wouldn't tell anyone. And in this fashion, we walk around town together as I divulge all of the details of my disastrous life to her. When I'm done with my complaints, we reach what appears to be our destination. On the main avenue, you can find a shopping mall with a few random stores like a supermarket, restaurants, and even a movie theater. It's nothing special, but we don't have anywhere else to go in this small town. Now that I think about it, I used to go to the underground arcade a lot. I wonder if it's still there. Claire was surprisingly attentive and quiet all the way there. She had this mature demeanor that contrasted with her previous behavior. It made me wonder if she had swapped places with the twin I wasn't aware of or something. But all my doubts were dispelled the next time that she opens her mouth. I only listened to half of what you said because it was boring. Boring, Sieran. Learn to summarize. Next time, try to fit it into 140 characters or less. Okay, Twitter. You could at least pretend that you're interested. I don't know why I even bother. I forgot that you don't have a thing called common sense. I didn't stop listening because it was uninteresting. It was because the answer to your worries is so simple that it's hilarious. What? Do you have a solution? I would love to hear it since I don't even know what triggered those emails in the first place, you know? I mean, you usually piss someone off. That's how you make enemies. But this time? At first, I thought it was all some kind of prank, but now I'm not so sure whether... Hey, listen, what are you doing? Ignoring my complaints, Claire fixates her attention on a store display window. Clothes, shoes, and all kinds of other feminine accessories are displayed. It's truly a temple for fashion trend followers. Big corporations win once again when it comes to catching people's attention. Good job, designers, for making my words fall on deaf ears. This is the last time I try to reason with Claire, and also the last time I try to defeat a cute pair of shoes. If you're so interested in the store, why don't you go in? It's not like I was saying anything important. Claire staggers a little, biting her lip before replying to my subtle insinuation. It's not like I'm that interested. It's just that I usually come alone, and it's different if, well... Claire gently falls to her knees as she speaks. It almost looks as if she's dying from sadness. I shouldn't spoil her after what she did, but I'm not the kind of person who gets angry over this kind of thing. It's easier to let it go. Everyone is happier that way. We can go inside if you like. I'm not embarrassed to go with you, if that's what you're worried about. In the end, I'm pretty sure the only thing that'll fit you are in the kids department. I was kidding. Don't be like that. Claire starts punching the floor as she turns her face away from me. Don't tell me that I was right. Ooh. She crawls away, now appearing to be completely lifeless. Did I hit a nerve? Your clothes really are from the kids section. Your age? I try to keep shaming her for as long as possible, but not as much as I would have liked to, since Claire seems to forget about it once she sees another display. From then on, she takes me from place to place. She never buys anything, but gets interested often, which I can't understand since she doesn't plan on buying any of it. Look, Sieran! Let's go here next! She gets excited over the smallest of things, and talks like it's the first time she's ever seen them. Look, Sieran! There's a creepy guy there! Her constant shouting over everything makes me worry about the people around us. They've started staring at us and crowding around. Look, Sieran! He's a thief! He's stealing something! She goes running after the criminal without even letting me open my mouth to speak. Look, Sieran! Suplex! I clear my throat to get Claire's attention, but it doesn't seem to work, as she continues doing her thing after slamming the alleged robber against the tiled floor. Look, Sieran! I got the thief! I'm sure they're going to present me with the key to the town for this. I'd like to thank everyone who helped me get this award. Sierran for bringing me here, the thief for letting himself get caught, the guy manning the spotlight who came out of nowhere, and the keysmith for this key. The keysmith? The guy who makes keys. That's the locksmith. Don't be a fool. That's his nemesis. In any case, thanks to all of you for coming here, and I hope to see you again during the Emmys. Thank you. Claire ends her speech by clapping and manages to infect me with her enthusiasm, which causes me to join in. Bravo, bravo. Do you even know what you were doing, Claire? If you end a speech on a high note and clap, people would cheer for you no matter how terrible it was. Give it a try. Good to know, but I was actually referring to the fact that your thief is just a mannequin and that the entire shopping mall is staring at us now. They were cleaning the display, see? There's no theft in progress. Claire looks around and realizes how confusedly the crowd around us is whispering about the show she had performed for them. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I tried at first, but after a while I wanted to see how long it'd take you to realize it on your own. Claire tries to hide under the brim of her hat and pushes herself to stand behind me, embarrassed. Meanwhile, not too far away, I can see some onlookers calling out to a stocky security guard and pointing in our direction. I know now that I have to quickly come up with an escape plan. Thank you everyone for attending the annual robbery drill at the mall. What happened here is exactly what you shouldn't try to do. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's meet again next year. A round of applause. The crowd infectiously begins to clap, even though they're unconvinced. Still, it's enough for me to grab Claire's hand and get away from the crime scene just in time. In the end, it's true that clapping will spread from one to another if you do it correctly. We reach the last floor and I peep out from the edge of the catwalk to confirm that no one is following us, especially that stocky guard from before. For some reason, he looked familiar. Regardless, I managed to remain calm. I'm used to pulling pranks with Aussie, although I usually let him take the spotlight instead, first and foremost. I don't like taking the lead, and from what I've seen, Claire doesn't either. They're gone, Sierran? Yes, but don't worry, I'll make sure to remind you about this incident periodically so that I can shame you for it. Don't joke about that! I'm not. I laugh at Claire's expense. Even though she grabs the brim of her hat with both of her hands, I can still see a slight smile on her blushing face. I don't usually do these things, you know. You're a bad influence. I got carried away because of you. I noticed. That speech about the key to the town would have been better written if it wasn't the first time you gave it. Could you come up with anyone better to give thanks to? Although I'm only mocking her, this time Claire's laugh is forced. She evades my eyes and refuses to give me a clear answer. It reminds me of what she said back at the first store we went to, and I start wondering if I should be more careful when talking about friendships around her. In any case, it would be best to go somewhere else and avoid drawing any more attention to us. There may be more guards looking for us. And where can we go? I scratched my chin thoughtfully and look at my surroundings until I notice the billboard for the movie theater. It's open for the first sessions of the afternoon right now. I don't say anything, but Claire still seems to notice what I'm thinking. Do you want to go in? There's a movie playing that I want to watch, so I'm not opposed to the idea. After discussing it with Claire, she also seems to be interested. It's been in theaters for a while. It shouldn't be long before they take it out. If we want to watch it, it's now or never, but... Claire is already buying the tickets before I can finish my sentence. I didn't tell her whether or not I wanted to go now, but she doesn't seem to care. No refunds are allowed, and I still have some time before I need to go to the library. All in all, I decide to shrug it off and go along with the new plan of action. We arrive at the movie theater, find our seats, and the movie starts. I get the feeling that I missed something pretty simple. It takes me a while, but it's when the projector lights up the screen that I realize what it is. There's nobody else in the theater. We're completely alone in this giant dark room. She and I. Looking at her, she doesn't give off any vibes of being bothered by the situation. I, however, can't stop thinking about it. First, I'm not stupid. I know what it means for a boy and a girl to be alone together in this kind of situation. It may only be because of Claire's unique, carefree, and direct personality that she's like this, but the memory of her confession from that time is still vivid in my mind. She dismissed the idea afterward, and it made me believe that she was just kidding around, but that doesn't change the fact that that it did happen. I admit that Claire is cute in her own way, and she even said that I'm not too bad myself. Wait, no, that was after saying that I'm ugly, I think. What's going on in this girl's head? Could I use this chance to, for example, hold hands with her? It's normal at the movies, right? Did she bring me here because of that? It's not like she looks up to the task and I don't have any reason to do it. Hey, Sieran! I gulp in surprise when Claire interrupts my train of thought, whispering with her lips hovering close to my ear. Now would be a good moment for you to feel me up. What? Oh no. I jump up from my seat and run to the next room before Claire finishes talking. I try to slow my breathing and retrieve my heart, which should be lying on the floor somewhere, before returning to Claire to demand an explanation. What are you saying? Why do it need to go that or so fast? I mean, I was only kidding. I was only kidding about holding hands at most. Or wait, whoops. Was it? Oh, I was only thinking. Sorry, I was only thinking about holding hands at most. Seriously? I was just teasing you. But I guess I could show you that not everything I wear is from the kids section. Oh my god. I want to die. Have my body burned such that nothing of me remains. Do you want to hold hands anyways, now that you suggest it? I face Claire, her eyes showing a genuine curiosity towards my thoughts and actions. I remain silent, unable to so much as think clearly about it. It takes some time, but my hand slowly moves away from my chair arm and gets closer to hers. It's only for a couple of seconds, but I'm doubtful, and when I finally get close, Claire moves her hand away. Time's up, Sieran. I've already told you I won't accept any of your half-baked dancers. After all, to me, the most important thing is that you're truthful. She repeats the same words that she said back at the pond. Then she smiles and returns her gaze to the movie screen. Truthful? What did that have to do with being truthful? I wanted to hold her hand. What's the problem with that? Is it somehow wrong? I only wanted... Why did I want to hold her hand anyway? The movie is over sometime later, and we go back into the shopping mall. I look at the floor, then at the ceiling. I look everywhere except towards her. I couldn't enjoy the movie after everything that had happened. Maybe next time I should come alone. It was her who bought the tickets without asking, and I just followed along without thinking about it first. By the way, I should pay her back for my ticket. It's not okay to leave it like this, and it might break the ice after all of that. Hey, Claire, how much do I owe? When I turn around as I take out my wallet, I can see Claire making her way towards the hallway that leads to the washrooms. I follow her around, but I'm mistaken and realize that it wasn't the washrooms that she was looking for. Instead, the entrance to the metallic stairs that lead outside to the building is open. There's a sign that clearly states that only authorized personnel can go up there, but that doesn't seem to matter to Claire. And up there on the rooftop, I find her looking out at the entire town. Oh, wait. Oops. Well, I don't know if I caught it, so... I go close to the edge by her side, questioning her in a whisper why she would want to come up here. Claire, however, doesn't move. She lowers her head and holds her hat so that the wind doesn't blow it away, even though it looks like she herself could be stolen away by the wind at any moment. Sieran, this question might be old by now, but tell me. Have you ever wondered after watching a movie if anyone around you are nothing more than actors? Everything's a big lie when you or with you in the center as the main character? I remained silent. Yeah, of course I've thought about it. Everyone has wondered that at some point in their lives, but it's the sad undertone that worries me. There's an odd melancholy flooding the rooftop and even out onto the beautiful view. When the subject comes to light, everyone is always horrified, scared of being manipulated or deceived. I, on the other hand, think that life would be easier if it was all a farce. I wouldn't have to worry about disappointing or hurting anyone. They'd only be paid to act that way. I wouldn't have to worry about the future. I could always have fun without worrying about the consequences. Everyone would make sure that I get home safe and sound, finishing the episode until the next time that the camera starts shooting once again. Who cares if they're fake, or if they're hired to do it? Is it really any different than how I'm living now? I can't know what anyone else is thinking. I don't know who's lying or who's not. No matter how hard they swear upon their actions, from my point of view, isn't a paid kindness the same as the unknown kindness that I receive now? The difference is that no matter what I do, I wouldn't feel bad for bothering anyone. On the contrary, only by leaving this world can I be sure that no one is suffering at my expense. Claire plays with her skirt as it floats in regular intervals with the wind. Nervously, she brushes the roof with the tip of one of her shoes. I guess that depends on the person, doesn't it? She looks at me and stops curling her skirt around her fingers when I give my reply. It depends, because you could also make someone unhappy by not being close to them. Wouldn't it be a pity to distance yourself from someone thinking you're hurting them when it's actually the opposite? Claire answers with a bashful smile, looking back towards the town. And if no one can be happy with you, Sierran? I lower my shoulders as I sigh before speaking. In that case, there's nothing you can do, but you should verify if it's true first, and along the way, you may even find someone who truly loves you for who you are. It's something that you can't really be sure of, no matter what, because there's always the possibility that it really is all just a movie like you said before. We can't change how others feel about us, but we can change how we ourselves feel. If we know something deep down, then does it actually matter whether or not if it's an act? Claire's smile grows, eventually to the point that it evolves into laughter, as she tries to cover her mouth with the palms of both of her hands. Her small body shrinks a little, as she laughs, her clothes blowing in the wind on the rooftop from where I can see the entire world, making her seem more charming than ever before. Meanwhile, I must sound completely ridiculous after giving such a corny speech. What do you think, Sierran? Is that enough of an answer for you? I doubt Claire's question. Answer? What is she talking about? It's true. Claire told me before we came here that she had the answer to my problems. I was wondering who sent those emails, the meaning hidden behind them, and but that's something I will never know because ultimately their motive is irrelevant. What really matters is what I've learned from all of this. It may have started with those emails, but all of the decisions from then on were my own. It doesn't matter if it was due to anyone else that I went to one place or another. I could have always ignored them and gone home instead. Isn't it more important to be truthful to my decisions and own them with pride? I understand now. This is what Claire wanted to say, but she decided to show me firsthand instead. Ah, of course it is, Claire. Thank you for everything. She rests her arms atop the border fence of the rooftop, shaking her head at me. No, Sierran, thank you. I'm especially grateful for this moment, for this day. To tell you the truth, this is my first date in forever. I hope that you don't mind me bringing you here like this without even asking. I close my eyes and smirk. She's able to say the most daring things with all the spontaneity in the world. It was fun, Claire. Don't worry about it too much. Although I try to please her with my words, she doesn't seem convinced. What can I do as a thank you? What is this girl missing that only I can give her? Hey, Claire, you said before that you study at the other side, right? I mean, Enate. She nods. They forced me to join the committee to organize the grad events, and well, you don't have to accept it if you don't want to, but would you like to join? The more people there are, the easier it'll be. I get the feeling you'd like to meet people, and they aren't bad people. Except Ziva. She's a witch. Claire's eyes open widely. I can join you? You don't think I'll get in the way? I confidently place my hands on her shoulders. Aussie is an idiot, and he's already on the team, so you couldn't possibly do worse than him. Also, it's not that serious. You can just come to talk. Or you can come just to talk. I can introduce you to the others, and we can hang out afterwards, whatever you want. Claire takes a few steps back, moving away from me. With one hand, she prevents her hat from flying away. With the other, she nervously plays with with her skirt fabric. All right, Sierra, I'll go there. Don't regret it later. You know how much I despise half-baked answers. Regret it? I don't think so. What could go wrong, Claire? After the mistakes I made over those emails, I don't think there are many things that could go worse. And like you told me before, you shouldn't worry so much. She crosses her arms and raises an eyebrow. Did I say that? I don't understand why she's asking me that. Well, that's what you implied before, right? You know, the answer to my problems that you knew before we came here. How the important thing is how I feel. Claire bows her head doubtfully. Oh, not like that. I told you not to worry about the emails because I was the sender. What? What? A strong wind blows against us, causing Claire's hat to fly away, and I instinctively follow it with my eyes. Oh, it falls little by little, swaying like a piece of paper towards the streets below us. When I turn my gaze back to Claire, to the girl whom I've been talking to this entire time, she's not there. Oh, what? That was creepy. I already told you, it's purposeful. Seriously? All those changes between right, left, white, black, tall, and short? I think you're just trying to look intelligent without a real clue as to what you were doing. It had to be contrasting. Why do you care about what I do or don't write? It's already been a while since our first meeting in the library began, and to no one's surprise, the last thing we're doing is getting work done. It's more like we're having an argument that will never end. And by argument, I mean that Lucy is on the offensive towards me, with the toughness and strictness of a court-martial. It's not like this kind of treatment matters to me anyways, and considering that my mind is distracted by other thoughts right now, you could say that I'm taking it in stride. It only manages to upset Lucy, who continues sarcastically questioning me about everything that comes to her mind. She, of course, doesn't know anything about the emails or their sender, which somehow helps me to forget about the outside world, as if this library is a bubble that's impervious to everything outside of it. And why is a wolf the main character? It's normal to have animals in fairy tales, but a wolf? Because I like wolves. Do you also have an issue with that? Not to mention that wolves have always been closely associated with the sun, moon, and all of those things, so it's relevant. Yes, but you know, wolves are usually the villains in fairy tales. They eat the sheep and make life impossible for shepherds and pigs. From the sheep's point of view, the shepherd is only a wolf in sheep's clothing, don't you think? Confirmed. You're just a pretentious hipster. Go grab your MacBook, go to Starbucks already, and don't come back here. It was you who insisted on us working together, and what do you plan to do after this? Illustrate my fairy tale? Make a graphic novel out of it? I don't know. We can figure that out later. For now, just having some references is okay. All I want is motivation for me to continue improving. You aren't taking it very seriously. Or maybe you're overdoing it. It seems like you're more interested in making the critics happy than the readers. I only write for myself. I'm not interested in competitions. It's not like I write to win or gain anything. That's how losers talk. Stop joking. I've told you that writing is like a necessity to me. Everything else is secondary. Trying to sound interesting again? Why would writing be a necessity at all? The heck are you talking about? Are you going to force me to tell you with one of those requirements of yours? Or maybe with some of your twisted rhetoric? Sorry, I had to take a drink. Lucy, who up until now never took her eyes off of me, leans back against her seat, puffs her cheeks out, and then smirks at me. No, not this time. I think it'll be a lot more fun if I try to find it out on my own. Her attitude makes me suspicious of the real meaning behind her words. However, I choose to forget about it. For now. Do what you want. It's not like I'll tell you even if you're right. Oh, yes, you will. What makes you think that? Because you're fair, and that's the attitude that justice demands. I sneak a peek, genuinely perplexed, as this is the first time I've ever been praised by her. Don't delude yourself. Over time, I've learned that being fair is more of a flaw than a virtue. I could tell you firsthand. Somehow, she manages to transform flattery into an insult, but looking at her, it's difficult to tell if that was intentional or not on her part. I keep staring at her while she tries to draw something, not really thinking about anything, as if I'm trying to scrutinize her different expressions. Focused on this sheet of paper, she tries to ignore me. Little by little, she grows nervous to the point of her pencil snapping. Are you gonna stare at me all day? I'm not really inspired, to tell you the truth. You haven't even tried to open your notebook yet. How can you know if you don't try? One can sense these things. Also, I'm running out of pages and I don't want to waste them. I've already told you that I'm more into letting the story write itself. Alright, we're done here. Let's go somewhere else and take a break. We haven't even started. Break. Period. We both need some fresh air. Do you have any other plans? I don't share Lucy's enthusiasm, as she gets up noisily as possible in the process. But when confronted by that question from her, I can't help but remember the mall and everything that happened before I got here. She seems to notice that I'm thinking and interrogates me about it to the point that I'm forced to talk about the movie I saw in such a way that distracts her from pressing me about my plans before the library. Did you watch the movie or not? Well, I can't really say say watched. In theory, yes, but I can't honestly say it. Then let's go. I haven't watched it either. What? Come on, let's go. We leave the library before I can even blink, and before I realize it, we're watching the movie. But this time the theater isn't empty. But when it comes to understanding what's going on the screen, I can't really understand anything at all because Lucy is sitting next to me. I'm nervous, not for the reasons one would expect, but because of Lucy's unceasing and penetrating laughter. It's almost like she's having a seizure while laughing, causing her to drop her popcorn and spill her drink on me as collateral damage. And the worst part is that this is supposed to be a horror movie. I mean, I laugh at scary movies all the time, so it's not that weird. But this is where I'm going to end it. It's a really good stopping point. So, yeah. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, hit that like button down below. Don't forget to subscribe as well. I love you guys so much. And I will see you next time.